Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of RV Business's Capital Talk. With us today, of course, is Sherman Goldenberg, publisher of RV Business, along with Bob Wheeler, president and CEO of Airstream, and Mollie Hansen, chief marketing officer for Airstream. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you for being there, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Go ahead, Rick. You were going to do a setup here.
Okay. Well, let's just start with the most recent news from Airstream, and that's the Caravan to Carbon Neutral initiative. Mollie, I understand that's your baby.
Yeah, we're really excited to announce it. We've heard from our consumers over time that they really want, they're really interested in sustainability, and they want companies that are involved in the products that they love to take a stance on that. So we launched the program. And the first year's on us. So we did a calculation based on our manufacturing processes as well as transportation to and from our dealerships. We also used consumer data to estimate the amount of miles that our Airstreamers would travel in the first year, and used an EPA calculator then to determine how many trees we would have to plant in order to offset and create the carbon neutral footprint for the first year. We're also offering kits for anyone who is an existing customer, or they want to, in the second and third year, hopefully they'll buy their own carbon neutral package, and that way they can continue to offset their footprint.
Bob, this speaks to another board that you're on, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great tie-in with the National Forest Foundation. I am on the board, have been for a couple of years now. And it really fit together like puzzle pieces, right? Our desire to step up our sustainability game, the idea of trying to offset or neutralize some of the carbon that our consumers create when they tow and drive their Airstreams around, and then the relationship with the Forest Foundation. So planting trees, it's a great concept because it's easy to understand, it's effective. Not only, there's just a tremendous need in national forests to restore, especially with the wildfires. And that's become a big part of the Forest Foundation mission, and the U.S. Forest Service that it supports over the last several years is repairing the damage from wildfires so that the erosion and the watersheds don't get fouled and polluted. So anyway, there's a tremendous need and real kind of cultural push now to support these kind of things. So it all came together very well.
118,405 trees. Who's keeping count?
That's our estimate.
We've got a satellite that counts every one of those, Sherman.
I guess my comment is it's an extremely trendy, timely type of a topic. Climate change right now in the world, and to see a company within the RV industry take a step like that is really impressive. I know, yeah, I did want to say that.
Our parent company too has taken a position, and that has kind of helped us kind of work with them in order to make their efforts even stronger as part of the family, the Thor Industries family.
As you know, Thor's staked out some very aggressive sustainability goals, some for 2030, and then some even more aggressive to be carbon neutral by 2050. So this supports that whole initiative, but there's a lot more really significant programs coming from Thor to accomplish both of those goals.
Let's shift topics real quick if we could. The new production facility, 723,500 square feet. Not too bad. You've had a full year in it now. How's it been?
Well, it's really been transformative. And to be able to move into a space that was designed with lean manufacturing principles in mind, designed in the modern era. Our last facility was built in 1972. Better lit, safer, more space, better material flow, able to build higher quality because we're not so crowded, there's less damage. It checks all the boxes. And the funny part is, so when we first envisioned this facility, we were well over capacity. We were packed in every corner of our old plant. But by the time we got it done 2 years later, the market had cooled off. So I honestly was having some sleepless nights thinking we'd overbuilt this thing, and then the pandemic hit. And now, geniuses by luck is all I can do to describe it. I hate that it happened this way, but the fact that we now have this facility and we expect to be not at our capacity here, but within eyesight of it by sometime later this year. So it turned out to be really fortuitous and a fantastic investment. Thor's support for this investment was appreciated and obviously much needed.
In a museum that was originally to have been a part of that got delayed because of the pandemic, we understand, is just getting underway.
Yes, we were scheduled to open last September, but unfortunately the pandemic happened, and we used to have tours every day, and so we haven't been able to have our tours and or open the museum. So the hope is that this September we will be able to kind of revisit that grand opening date. So it's still TBD for sure, but we're excited to see to start the construction on the space.
Bob, back to what you were talking about as far as production, maybe a state of the market report from Airstream's perspective. What kind of demand are you seeing, and you're able to meet this demand, I'm assuming?
Well, the short answer is no. We're well behind what the market would like to see at this point. It's the same kind of things you've been hearing from the rest of the industry: unprecedented orders, unprecedented backlog, dealer inventories at historic lows, and the retails continue to pile up month after month. So from that perspective, we're really in line with the rest of the industry. The anecdote I like to use is, if we didn't take another retail order today, or if our dealers didn't, starting today, it would take us a year to fulfill the orders we have in the system and rebuild dealer inventories to where they really need to be. I mean, we're at around real world inventory. We're about 300 units nationally. We need to be at about 3,700 units.
Wow.
So just from an inventory rebuild standpoint, we've got that mountain to climb, and the retails continue to come in. About 80% of what we're shipping right now has a retail name on it. So it just goes right through dealer inventory. Fantastic business, but we're just not making any headway on the pile. So we got our work cut out. And the thing we can't do, the rest of the industry is able to ramp up much more quickly than we can. We're very slow, hire and train, and it's a very deliberate increase. So, but our commitment has always been, and will continue to be, that we will not ramp up any faster than we can at least maintain, if not improve, product quality. So as soon as we start to feel like we're stretching the machine too far, we back off. Quality is paramount.
Airstream only dealerships. The topic is not altogether new, something that you started to do, but we're seeing with a couple of recent acquisitions by Lazy Days Holdings, some movement in Airstream only dealerships. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I say there's really been three things that have transformed this company over the past 15 years. It's product relevant to current buyers, marketing, hats off to Mollie and what she's done, and then this move to standalone Airstream dealerships. If I had to pick one of those three that was the most impactful, I'd probably have to say it's the dealership move. We have about 25 Airstream exclusive dealerships nationally. At the moment, we've got another 11 letters of intent waiting to a point where we can actually build enough inventory to get those kind of places off the ground. And it really makes sense if you look at it, although it's counterintuitive maybe for what the industry is used to. When you have an Airstream exclusive store, First of all, every customer coming in is an Airstream buyer. They're there for a reason. All the salespeople are trained to the hilt on what makes this brand special, the history, construction, our USPs, what makes it worth the money, so that their lips are loaded with everything those customers want to hear in order to give themselves permission to pull the trigger. The customer experience at every level, the service experience. These dealers are trained on how to repair Airstreams. There's a lot of unique things with metal repair. Their marketing efforts, they use the right language, and we do a good job of feeding them the right tools to really connect with those customers that are thinking about the opportunity. And what we've seen, well, it's not anecdotally, it's factually, in a market where we move from a multi-brand store where we're a menu item to an Airstream exclusive store, our market share triples. And so just from an organic growth standpoint, every market we can flip from a multi-brand store to an exclusive store gives us that much more market share. And you multiply that across all the different markets in the US, and it's been transformational. Better customer experience for our customers, that's number one. Better business model for our dealers, and certainly growth for Airstream as a company.
Are you saying, I think you just said there's 25 Airstream exclusive dealerships already?
Yes.
Wow.
With 11 letters of intent.
Yeah, and our whole network is kind of around 85 dealers. So we're approaching the point where we're going to be pushing 50%. If we can fulfill all those LOIs, or when we get to that point, half of our dealerships nationally might be Airstream exclusive. So it's changed the way we run the company and run the business, and it really works on every level.
Rick, one more question, you think?
I think so, sure. Go ahead.
We exceed our 12-minute limit. I suppose I would go back on the environmental sensitive topic. We see electric assisted news reports on an electric assisted, I'm reading here, camper for EVs. What's with that? Is that for real?
Well, I have to be a little careful about getting too far out over my skis here, but let me start by saying that the electric vehicle movement is here to stay. And clearly with GM's latest announcements, which is really kind of groundbreaking, that they'll be out of combustion vehicles by 2035, I think it was, 15 years. And the advent of Rivian and the Cybertruck and Lordstown Motors and these vehicles, electric vehicles that have real tow capacity. We know we're headed that way. So we're trying to be proactive, and Thor is trying to be proactive in looking at what kind of travel trailers are going to be best suited to be pulled by these electric vehicles in a way that doesn't kill the battery range, doesn't kill your mileage. So this is something we've been toying with for quite a while. We've been talking with partners in this space, both about using their battery and motor technology, and also marketing relationships with some of the companies I mentioned. And let me just say, it's moving beyond just a concept, and starting to get a real tailwind, both here at Airstream and with Thor Industries, in an effort to be in front of this trend and leading it, rather than scrambling to catch up once it really starts to become a significant and impactful force in the marketplace. And it certainly supports our goals as a company for sustainability and supporting sustainable travel.
I think we've done it, Rick.
Yeah, sounds like as far as EVs, basically just stay tuned.
Yeah,
Yep.
Stay tuned, and more to come. And yeah, it's not just a pipe dream.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having
thanks,
us.
guys.